Hello, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today's video is all about how you can get a job in the UK's construction industry. Let's roll the intro. Okay, firstly, I know I put a lot of information into these videos, so I'm going to go ahead here and do a timestamp of all the points that I'm going to run through. And I'll also put these timestamps down in the description. So if you want to jump ahead to any particular point in the video, you know exactly where it is that you need to be. Let's get going. So today I'm answering that all-important question for anyone that lives outside of the UK. How can you get a job in the UK, specifically in the construction industry? Now, this is a question that I am getting asked all the time on YouTube, LinkedIn and Instagram from people all over the world, people that are already engineers or people that are students that are planning to come over. Now, if you're watching this video and you actually currently live in the UK and you're thinking about getting a job in the construction industry, then I already made a video, which I will link. It's always that way. In the description for you guys, so you can check that one out. It's a little bit more specific to having UK qualifications, etc. Okay, so for all of you that live outside of the UK, number one rule, please don't ask me for a job. You guys always ask me for a job and it's just like a one-worded, please can I have a job? I cannot, unfortunately, get anyone a job in the UK. I don't employ anyone. I am kind of like a one-man band, and I just don't have the time or resources to personally help individuals get a job in the UK. So please stop asking. But this video hopefully is going to help you out with some hints and tips. Now, bear in mind, these tips are to enable you to put in the work for you to find a job. No one is just going to give you a job. So if you follow these steps, then hopefully it's going to help. But please be aware that no one's just going to phone you up and go, oh, I've got a job for you. You're going to have to really work at this. You're also going to have to do a ton of research. Okay, now that I've finished being all teachery and telling you what you should be doing, let's get on to some of these helpful tips. Number one, it's pointless looking for a job in the UK if you don't have transferable skills. What I mean by this is my job specifically, I'm called a setting out engineer. Now, I know in other countries, they don't have setting out engineers, they have just a general engineer and they have subcontractors that do the setting out work. So just make sure that the job that you are doing is transferable to the UK. You also need to think about whether your qualifications transfer as well. Do you have a degree or do you have a master's or do you just have work experience? And do those fit the remit of what we kind of accept over here in the UK? I think pretty much on the whole, a degree in any country is valued in any other country, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But it's something that you probably want to be Googling or trying to ask companies if they accept the degree you've got from a different country. Okay, now all you students out there, don't panic when I talk about having a degree. If you don't have a degree, but you're looking to get some qualifications that will enable you to work to the UK, then you're at a great standpoint because you can start and look at UK courses and see which course might align with one that you do in your country, or even think about apprenticeships or experience that you might want to get before you come over here. So you're in a great position if you're a student, but you need to do the research. It's pointless doing a degree in construction management if you purely want to go into setting out and surveying because it's not really needed. Another great way to get into the UK construction industry, if you haven't done a degree, is to come over and do your degree over here. If it's possible, again, that's something that you will need to research on your own. Next up, is really important. You need to check that you are eligible and that you can get a working visa in the UK. This is something that I have very little information on, but you can check out the UK government website. And this information should be readily available in your own country. Just a little bit of Googling and you'll be able to find out what requirements are needed for the UK, whether you need sponsorship or whether you are allowed to just freely come in and apply for work. Next up, think about what type of work do you want? Do you want to be employed full-time by a company or do you want to work on a freelance basis? My advice to you is if you want to work full-time as a company, it's probably a little bit easier to obtain a job before you come over to the UK by applying and having interviews remotely. This will put you in great stead because you're already coming into the country with a secured job, so that's great. And I highly advise that if you can do that. If you can't and you want to be kind of like a freelance engineer, which is what I'm like, where you can jump from job to job and you are self-employed, then I would strongly suggest that you try and get into the country first, because the way these jobs moved are very fast paced. So a job might come up on a Monday that starts on a Wednesday and you're expected to be on site there and then. So it's absolutely pointless applying for freelance short-term contracts if you're abroad, because it's just never going to work out. You need to be aware of the UK minimum site requirements. So in this country, you need to have a CSCS card. I think it's now a 2-day course that you do on health and safety. And if you want to be in management, an SMTMS or a SSS certificate, which is a 5-day course, and I believe costs around about £1,500. So if you're coming into this country and expecting to get work super quick, you need to make sure that you have those certificates. You're only going to be able to get those once you're in the UK. Now, if you're applying for a more permanent position and it's in management or possibly even a graduate job, then I'm pretty sure that the company that is sponsoring you or employing you will enable you to come here and then do those courses before you jump on site. But it's something you need to bear in mind. This one for me is essential. Work on your language skills. And I have lots of people email me asking me for jobs, and the English is terrible. You're going to have very good spoken English and written English to be able to survive in the construction industry over here, purely on the basis that everything is fast-paced and communication is key. If you can't communicate with people on site, you really are going to struggle. You might be able to survive a little bit longer if you're doing mainly CAD-based work or skills within an office, but certainly I would believe that most employers are looking for someone with very good English skills. Okay, so you're sat remotely in another country and you're getting frustrated because you have no idea where to look for jobs. Again, this just comes down to using your mind a little bit and obviously the internet. So look in the UK now at what current projects are going on. I think the government has a list of this, which you can find. I'm not going to put the link because half of the battle with this, getting a job in the UK, is that you have to put in the work. No one is going to give you a free ride. So look at what government projects are going on right now and which companies have been awarded those contracts. Then you can go onto LinkedIn and do a little bit of research and find people working on those certain projects, and just send them a polite, and this is key, you must send them a polite, detailed email asking them for the HR department or anyone who they know who recruits for the company. Number 2 is recruitment agencies. So these effectively are the middle guys that talk to the companies that are in need of employees, and they will then talk to you and they bring engineers or students together with companies. I've done this before and I'll do it again. I'll put a list down below of some of the recruitment companies I've used in the past, and I know a lot of them do deal with international engineers. See, I said I wasn't going to give you anything, but of course I'm going to help out if I can. Line up your references. So even if you're a student or if you've already been employed, you're going to have references, people that will vouch for you, that will say that you effectively will do a good job once you're in the UK. These people are so important. So make sure you have a list, I'd say, of 3 or 4 ready to go, because people will want to speak to people that you have previously worked with to prove A, that you can do the job, and B, that they want to employ you. Okay, that's it. Well, you'll see a common theme here is do the research and put in the work. Like I said, this video is a little bit basic, but it's going to give you a few steps. I've worked with people from all over the world who have made it into the UK and got a job, and there's so many different routes in. You just have to do the research to find out the one that suits you. Well, you'll see a common theme here is do the research and put in the work. Like I said, this video is a little bit basic, but it's going to give you a few steps. I've worked with people from all over the world who have made it into the UK and got a job, and there's so many different routes in. You just have to do the research to find out the one that suits you. Just before we go, I want to talk about the current UK construction industry and wages, because it's also another common question that you guys have. Will there be a job for me right now in the UK? At the moment, I would say possibly yes. It's a little bit awkward because of what's happened with COVID-19. I don't know the whole effects, but we do have a labour and skills shortage in construction industry. So it probably is still a good time to be applying for jobs in the UK. In terms of wages, I can only give you an idea from my side of things. So a setting out engineer stroke site engineer, you're looking from anywhere from £30,000 to £45,000 a year. English pounds. And if you are going into management, then I think possibly upwards to like 55,000 from 30 for construction management. And as a graduate, I'm saying I reckon between 25 to 28,000 pound a year. Again, do your research. All of this information is going to be out there on many of the job sites in the UK. Okay, that's it. So do more research, more research, more research, more research, more research. And you will get there if you work hard enough. There are jobs over here, and the best of luck to you. Go ahead and write down in the comments below any questions you have. Do not ask me for a job because I will not respond. But any questions from any areas that I've not covered, I'm happy to answer. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll be back real soon. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe, and all that shadazzle. And yeah, see you soon.